Hello and welcome to the audio podcast edition of Childbirth on the Homestead. I'm your host, Emily Elliott. If this is your first time interacting with any of my content, I am someone with many roles in life. I'm a birth worker, homesteader, and community herbalist, though the role that brings me the greatest joy in life is the role as a mother to my son, Caleb, with our next child due in just a few short weeks, about early August or so. My family and I recently left our small coastal micro homestead to move to western North Carolina, where we are building our new homestead on 6 acres. This podcast is all about providing information to help nourish you and your family from preconception through postpartum. It is a weekly podcast and video series that allows us to explore the connection with ourselves on our journey from maiden to mother, while covering everything from cloth diapering to healing from birth trauma to tea blends for fertility, all with a focus on living a simple, natural lifestyle and nourishing your body on traditional whole foods. You can find both the audio and video episodes on my YouTube channel. Just search Orchard Creek Homestead, and the audio versions on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes under Childbirth on the Homestead. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the placenta. To be more specific, I'm going to talk a little bit about placenta encapsulation to hopefully help you determine if it is something that you want to explore on a deeper level or not. So I've been encapsulating placentas for about 3 years now, and hopefully I'll be recording a step-by-step video of how I encapsulate once I birth my second child. Though honestly, I do plan on sending the majority of my placenta back into the earth on our homestead to honor it. It's work that I certainly enjoy doing, and even now, years later, I'm still fascinated by the beauty of the placenta. The placenta is truly a magical organ. It only starts to grow after a woman is pregnant, attached to the lining of the womb that delivers oxygen and nutrients to the growing baby. It is crucial to keeping your baby alive and well during pregnancy. Blood from the mother passes through the placenta, filtering oxygen, glucose, and other nutrients to the baby via the umbilical cord. In a lot of hospital births, though, the placenta tends to be discarded as medical waste, which is a huge tragedy to me. I don't think women realize that you can take your placenta home from the hospital, even if you have a cesarean birth. It is your right, and only in certain unique situations do I not recommend you to do so. And those situations would be like if you develop an infection during labor, or have some sort of pre-existing disease or illness like HIV or AIDS. Now, most hospitals will require you to sign some sort of release form, but what I can recommend to any of you listening, if you do want to take your placenta home after a hospital birth, is to contact the hospital now or your provider before you go into labor to see what their policies are and to make sure you have your wishes written down, ideally on your birth plan if you have one. There are a lot of things that you can do with your placenta. You can take it home and bury it in a sacred location. You can create a placenta print, which is a beautiful keepsake item where you just kind of paint one side of the placenta and put it on a piece of paper and do a print that way. I've even heard of one adventurous mother letting her older children dissect her placenta as part of a science lesson, which is an awesome idea. There's some other things you can do with it, like if you're experiencing hemorrhaging after giving birth, it's thought that by placing a piece of raw placenta in your cheek will help. And some women even believe that by placing a piece of raw placenta in alcohol, creating a tincture, it would help when they go through menopause many, many years later. But in this particular case, we're going to focus on the art of placenta encapsulation itself, which is the process of dehydrating and grinding the placenta into a fine powder in order to place it in capsules and consume it for about the first 6 weeks or so after giving birth. Like I mentioned earlier, hopefully I will have a step-by-step video of a placenta encapsulation coming at some point to actually show you how it's done. It's thought that by consuming the placenta, it can help prevent postpartum depression, reduce postpartum bleeding, improve mood, energy, and milk supply, and that it would also provide important micronutrients such as iron. Sounds pretty good, right? So why then isn't everyone doing it? Though the personal evidence is great, those one-on-one stories, there are no medical studies that show that consuming your placenta actually helps. Similarly, there are no real studies that exist out there to show the safety or or effectiveness of hundreds of alternative medicines, which is a great topic for another day and one that I'm quite passionate about discussing as an herbalist. In fact, the Center for Disease Control issued a warning a few years back against taking placenta capsules due to a particular case in which the newborn developed group B strep after the mother ingested placenta pills that contained group B strep and breastfed her newborn. The mother's breast milk was thought to be infected from group B strep bacteria that she acquired after eating her infected placenta. Now, the actual situation, of course, goes a little bit deeper than what the media has chosen to focus on, and it's a bit more complicated than how it seems at first glance, but that's neither here nor there. There's also really no straightforward historical evidence of the placenta having been consumed by the mother after birth, though within many texts focused on traditional Chinese medicine, there are numerous examples where the placenta has been consumed by others as a form of medicine to treat various ailments. In the vast majority of source material that you'll find out there, the placenta is treated with some sort of sacredness, but it's typically burned or buried, usually under a tree. But, it can also be argued that throughout history, women's voices have typically been ignored or silenced, especially in regards to a woman's body and what comes out of it, hello menstruation, and that there's so much uncertainty about what really happened to the placenta after birth throughout our hundreds of thousands of years of life on this earth. It only seems to be in the late 1970s, early 1980s did placenta encapsulation really begin to become known in the United States, with it only becoming more popular in the recent years thanks to celebrities publicizing their results after consuming the capsules. One of the more famous, or one of the more well-known ones, is January Jones, who back in 2012 said that she consumed her placenta, and that was why she got back to filming Mad Men after 6 weeks after giving birth. All in all, choosing to consume your placenta should be just that, a choice. It is a personal decision that isn't right for everyone, and there is no right or wrong answer here. I have heard from numerous clients, especially clients who have had multiple children, that when they did ingest placenta capsules, they experienced a very different postpartum recovery than when they did not. In speaking with other birth workers, I've also heard that some of their clients have experienced the opposite, that they experienced things like a dip in their milk production, or the jitters, as one called it, where their heart just felt like it was just racing. While I don't know what their pregnancy and birth experience were like, it does bring up a very interesting point. In a lot of cases, it seems that it's more of a mind over matter type of thing. We believe in the sacredness of the placenta, that it is the tree of life, and that by consuming the placenta, you are consuming that life force. Controversially, you are also consuming what the placenta filtered out. If you had a pregnancy that was full of chemicals or narcotics, all of those may very well still be contained within that placenta. If you had a birth that was full of trauma, is that trauma still retained within your placenta? Are you consuming your trauma? In that case, it may very well be more healing for you to bury your placenta as a way to thank your body for helping to grow and nourish your baby. Well, that's all I have for today, and I hope that you found this helpful. I'd love to hear from you all. Did you have your placenta encapsulated, or are you planning to if you're pregnant? Thank you for listening, and make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss a future episode. If you're listening to this on YouTube and have a suggestion for a future topic or a burning birth related question, please drop it in the comment box. If you aren't watching this on YouTube, you can reach out to me at my Instagram account, Life with the Hippie. Until next time, take care.